to a professional newspaper. It's amazing where you could possibly go. There's a guy, Dan Barrero, who, yeah, Pete laughs. We both worked with him. When I had Ruth's job, he was the editor of this place. The guy was nuts. He used to like to he'd climb on the desks, and he was always pinching women's butts. That was his big thing. I don't know why, but he was very good. He was a good writer, but he was very glib. And it was interesting. He left this place. He was like an okay writer, maybe a B minus B kind of writer, but through sheer force of personality, plus the fact that he was really glib, he was able to get really good sports writing jobs, which segued into sports columnist jobs. He went from, I think he went from Atlanta to Dallas, and then into Minneapolis, St. Paul. In fact, I think I talked to him like when he was turned about 30. So how you doing, Barrero? He says, still climbing on desks, still pinching butts in the newsroom. He never did kind of grow up. Hopefully he stopped that. But he ended up in Minneapolis, St. Paul, and as a columnist for the Minneapolis paper. And then all of a sudden, what you find in a lot of major metro markets, you get your own radio show. They have all these sports, network, radio network things. So we got on, started doing this radio show, and it took off. And of course, it really played him because he was so good. And then he ended up shedding his newspaper column and then doing that full time. And then he ended up with a radio battle. A couple of radio stations were battling over him. And of course, now he's making $1 bazillion doing this thing. But he's well respected in Minneapolis, St. Paul, because he's just not like one of these cable TV gas bags. He truly is a journalist who's turned into this broadcast person. So there's lots of ways that you can do this. I think I really salute you all for doing what you're doing. The fact that you are working here makes you exceptional. Period. I don't care whether I don't care what your talent level is. The fact that you're doing what you're doing makes you stand apart from all these other students within the journalism department and really within this university. You don't have to be here. Some of you want to work for a daily newspaper. Great. Some of you are not. Some of you are doing it because truly this is a service for the rest of the university. Some of you doing it because you want to be part of a group. It doesn't matter why you were here. The fact that you are here makes you unusual and does make you exceptional. There's a guy, I lived on ground floor of Shea Hall in Foster Quadashum. That's still what it's called. But there was a guy on my floor named Pete Nagy. He was kind of a ne'er-do-well. He was an odd guy. He shaved his head. He had this handlebar mustache that he would sort of wax up. So he looked like kind of a snidely Whiplash. I know you all know who that is. That's a cartoon character. And he'd always walk around his dorm floor just in boxer shorts and a top hat. He even had a monocle. He looked like Mr. Peanut on the famous Peanut. But I ran into him through a mutual friend, mid-90s. And he kind of talked like Sylvester Stallone. Hey, Drake. I knew you'd always make it because you were always working on the Daily Student while I was spending time getting drunk with Kopczynski, who is, everybody has a Kopczynski on their dorm floor. Everybody goes out and gets drunk with. And of course, we had several Kopczynskis that I ended up getting drunk with on his staff, but we got the paper out first. But the point is, I thought at the time, so what, I work for the Daily Student, but that, it really is, that really does make you different. And I think that's something you really need to grab hold of. The other thing that I would say, when you look around your coworkers, you think, boy, so-and-so, Brian's really talented. He's the one that's really going to go far because he clearly has all the talent. When I think of all the people that I worked for on this staff or worked with and who ended up working for me, I had Natalie's job, my senior year, we had an embarrassment of riches in terms of talent. These people went on to do really tremendous things. But the people who stand out, and to me are still really successful, there are a couple guys who, you know, you kind of consider backbenchers. They were a couple campus reporters that, you know, they were not the, the bright stars who ended up going to, you know, Chicago Tribune, New York Times, you know, they're the stars that shine, but they had this real passion within them. One of them was Terry Whalen, who was, you know, he was this skinny kid with really thick glasses. You know, he weighed about $1.05. He was, you know, kind of a, you know, kind of nerdy kind of guy, but he left here, and the guy's written 60 books. He was kind of became a born-again Christian and started writing these Christian books, and then segued into sort of main stuff. And so he's written 60 books. He's now a publisher of a book publishing house. He's a literary agent, and this guy's got a Rolodex a mile long. And so nobody would have looked at Terry Whalen and said, boy, you are really going to really make it. Another one, Ron Alsop, who was sort of on the same staff, very quiet kid. You know, again, both these guys were competent reporters, but they weren't the ones you think were going to be going to, you know, Sports Illustrated or wherever, which some of the people did who worked here. And that guy's written several books. He's the one that kind of coordinates the, you know, what's the best business schools for the Wall Street Journal. He's also written several other books besides that. So these are the guys that, and the people really that you work with now that are going to surprise you, because you can't see what kind of passion, what kind of flames burning inside them, and that's what really is going to be, that's what's really going to propel you as you go forward. You know, and talent means this much in terms of success. You know, work ethic and passion, being open for whatever opportunities are out there, means that much in terms of how well you're going to do in life. You know, I still feel like I've had to reinvent myself several times, even within the newspaper business. I've gotten 3 master's degrees along the way because I felt, you know, impelled to do that in order so I'm not obsolete. You know, a lot of these other people like Barrero, they end up going into doing other things. But what your skills, the skills you're learning here, is what's going to give you the flexibility to do pretty much what you want to do. And the fact that you are here indicates that you have the flame within you that's going to propel you and light whatever you need to do to get you, you know, to light the rocket to do whatever you're going to do. So I think it's fantastic. I'm sure the Tuesday paper was outstanding. It's always a real rush to have a really good story, and you tend to rise to the occasion. And I think that's pretty fantastic. So again, I'll be here for questions afterward. But again, I salute all you for being here. It's what you're doing here is important to the university, but it's also important to yourself. You are building a base of communication skills that are going to serve you for the rest of your life. Okay?